Hey Jeff,
Hey, Amani, how are you?
I'm doing alright. Thanks for taking the time to do the interview from our oral history project.
No problem.
My topic is Black Lives Matter movement in Baltimore.
Okay.
But first, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Jeffery Wright, program coordinator with the Male Student Success Initiative at the Community College of Baltimore County.
Can you tell about the Black Lives Matter movement in Baltimore?
Um, well, many years back, well, a few years back, you had a situation in Baltimore with a gentleman by the name of Freddie Gray. Um, he was killed in police custody. That situation, you know, Baltimore really erupted or became very vocal in its protest against Freddie Gray. Um, Black Lives Matter does exist in Baltimore. To be honest with you, I can't say that I've ever seen like any marches or meetings or met anyone in particular. Well, maybe not. I mean, I met one or two people in particular who are members of Black Lives Matter.
What are the problems that blacks and the youths are facing in Baltimore?
African American youth in Baltimore are facing similar problems that African American youth are facing all across the country in urban communities. Baltimore, unfortunately, is one of the most violent countries in the world, not the most violent. The other day, I was looking at the most violent countries in the entire world, and Baltimore placed at number 23. So there were two cities on that list. St. Louis is number 15, and Baltimore number 23. So not only are youth in Baltimore facing enormous amounts of violence in the city relative to the entire world, Baltimore youth are facing enormous incidents of violence.
Do you remember when the riots started?
I beg to differ with the term riots. That situation was an uprising and not a riot. So riots carry negative connotations such as unlawfulness, such as people just doing things on their own selfish accord, like I'm going to riot to hurt someone or destroy something or to try to get something. In this situation in Baltimore, the community, Sandtown, Winchester in particular, and um, the surrounding communities, were put in a situation in which they were really backed in the corner, and it was police brutality, um, police um, illegal activities, and even police killings. And some people believe that the police actually killed Freddie Gray.
How do you feel about it?
Well, I understand that when human beings are in a difficult situation, oppressed, mistreated, stepped upon, violated, and not only them, but their children and their parents and their uncles and their cousins, people throughout the history of the world become fed up. Say, I'm not going to take it anymore. As Lou Fanny Hammer said, I'm tired of being tired. So that's history of the world. I mean, the American Revolution itself was based upon people from uh, across the Atlantic Ocean.
Did something positive come out of the riot?
I believe so. I believe what came out of the uprising that was positive is that people learned to be self-advocates, to let their voices be heard. And I know that it was done in a way in which it was violent, this happened to police, it happened to. But I'm just saying, that's the way society goes.
What were the negative effects of the riot?
Again, the negative effects of mine was that some of them were simply that buildings, cars, homes were damaged. Some of them perhaps haven't been put back to the speed just yet. I'm quite sure at that moment it was very fearful. People were afraid. People were nervous. fear for their lives, fear for their family lives. I can't imagine looking outside my window and seeing that. And I saw it on CNN, I saw it on the news. I can't imagine seeing that in real time, in real life.
What kind of things can we do to help the community?
Well, I believe that helping the community starts with helping yourself first, right? I believe that helping the community is the sole responsibility of organizations, of nonprofits, or outside individuals. Now, can we help? Sure. Have I helped? Sure. But I think that we need to reverse that thinking to helping the community starts with the community helping themselves first, right? And in particular, I'm talking within the home. I think that the home itself is a community. It's a micro community, but it is a community. If, for example, you have a mother and father and 3 or 4 kids, that's your community. And that community needs to highly focus on the benefit of each other, in particular their children. Because children, this is analogous to playing rugby, right? So if you never played rugby, then I can't just give you a rugby ball and say, go play. You never played it. You never seen it before. So you have to be taught, cultivated, led, exposed, and most importantly, believed in, right? But not believed in just to say, oh, I believe in you without backing it up. I believe in you, and here's an opportunity. I believe in you, and here's a museum. I believe in you, here's an art studio. I believe in you, here's a gymnasium. I believe in you, here's a lab, here's a computer, here's an education, here's tutoring, here's a book. I believe in you, and I'll provide means for you to execute the belief I have in you by what I provide for you. Because you never play rugby, you can't play. If you've never been exposed to biotechnology or anything in the earth science field, then you can't aspire to do it if you don't realize that you exist. So it starts in the micro community. Then, again, this is America. Just in light of the fact that we receive trillions of dollars in stimulus funding, shows you that America has tons of money if they choose to make the investment in these communities, to improve schools, to improve neighborhoods, to put high quality housing, reasonably priced, to have stores that people can buy fresh food from and nutritious food from. The money does exist and opportunity does exist, but nonetheless, it hasn't happened.
How do you see the Black Lives Matter movement in the future, Jeff?
Black Lives Matter, it has its place. From what I understand, a great part of the Black Lives Matter agenda is deal with police brutality and police misconduct, especially in the African American community. Organizations, Amani, like NAACP, Du Bois, CORE, James Farmer, Congress of Racial Equality, SNCC, John Lewis, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, OAU, Malcolm X, Organization of African Unity, SCLC, Dr. King, Southern Christian Leadership Conference. I mean, these organizations all serve a purpose. They serve the purpose in a universally oppressive African American communities, right? And the oppression was felt all around. Today, you have African American communities that are rather affluent, rich, middle class, upper middle class, kids going to Ivy League schools, parents making $140,000, $175,000 a year per parent, and opportunities abound, right? And Black Lives Matter, to be honest with you, they're aware of it, they've heard of it, but they don't need it. And the question here is about NEED, need. You needed the NAACP, you need a SNCC, you need the SCLC, you needed those things. You need a CORE. But do you need Black Lives Matter? Some of us still do, but a lot of us do not. And so it doesn't have that universal support that these other organizations have. I have a cousin who played football for Virginia Tech, and my son interviewed him and asked him about Black Lives Matter. And this is a kid who went to Virginia Tech on a full scholarship, lives in a very, very nice home with two parents, professional, making, doing well. His sister went to Hampton and pursued her PhD in physical therapy. He finished in 3.5 years at Virginia Tech. So he's aware of Black Lives Matter. But does he need Black Lives Matter is the question. And so sometimes things exist on need and not just the fact that they're good or that they're around, but do we need it?
Well, thanks for the information, Jeff, and I can't wait to get back at the campus once it's safe from COVID-19.